Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
What is going on, beautiful people? We appreciate each and every one of you listeners, and we're stoked that you're on this episode today. We have had a decent amount of people from around the world reach out to us on Instagram and let us know that they've been listening to the podcast. And we appreciate those messages. They've given us a little bit of a story on how maybe this podcast has helped impact them or get them started in their CrossFit journey. And that makes this thing that we're doing so worth it. So if you're listening from around the world, from a different country than we are in Canada right now, then shoot us a message on Instagram, CrossFitMax_MTL, and we would love to hear how this podcast is influencing you or having any sort of impact at all from a different part of the world. It would be awesome. So reach out to us, and we hope that you enjoy this episode. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, team?
Welcome back to your favorite podcast ever in the whole wide world.
We're doing a pre-recorded podcast right now.
What does that mean? It means that we're further in the past than we usually are when we're recording these the day before we post them.
Susie's going to need a little bit of time off.
Hopefully.
Absolutely. So here we go. We have a fun banter topic that we want to talk to you guys about.
We want to tell you about how weird we are.
So every night we walk the dog.
Together.
We take Max for a nice, maybe a little bit less than 30-minute walk?
Yeah, like 25, 30-minute walk.
And we play this fun game. So we get our exercise in.
I feel like we're really letting people in on our personal life right now.
It's good. They want the juicy stuff. Tell them what this game is, my love.
Okay, well, the game is called the Bobbit game.
The Bobbit game.
And for those of you who don't know what a bobbit is, I actually have no idea why we call them bobbits. But a bobbit is a rabbit. Like a cute little bunny.
Yep.
And we live in Point Claire. And there are bobbits, aka rabbits, everywhere. I think it's my parents. My parents call them bobbits, right?
It's the first time I've ever heard someone say that. It was from your parents, yeah.
Okay. I haven't looked into it beyond just taking my parents at face value. So
whatever your
I don't know
parents
where
say,
they got it from.
Whatever they say, it is true.
Gospel.
Yeah.
So anyways, I don't know why they call them bobbits, but they call them bobbits.
Yeah.
So the bobbit game.
So Susie and I, at about 8 to 9 p.m.
It's bobbit o'clock.
It's bobbit o'clock.
Which
it's
means
game time.
That means that Max needs his nighttime walk and
his poop.
typically there are lots of bobbits out on people's lawns grazing their evening snack.
Yeah.
And so the game goes like this. It's pretty simple. You have to call if you see a bobbit.
You have to point to it.
You have to point to it and say bobbit.
Yeah.
And it's a competition of who can spot them first.
Yeah. And who's won the last 2 nights?
Me.
No, the last 2 nights I won.
No, you won one night.
No.
I won the 2 nights before that.
Okay, but the last 2 nights I've won.
No, not 2 in a row.
Yes.
No, you haven't. Remember last night
Oh.
you were like, oh, it's my turn to get 2 in a row?
Exactly.
No.
Yesterday was my second in a row.
One of 2.
No.
So tonight is your last chance.
Tonight is number 3. You see how competitive she is? She's trying to take away my victories.
We are so funny when we're walking because we'll hold hands and try and block each other and pull each other out of the way. Anyways.
Well, typically there's not you said that there's a lot. There is a lot, but we go for a 30-minute walk and there's not an enormous
5.
amount. Yeah, we'll see on average 5 or 6 rabbits or bobbits as we call them, and they're hidden. They're not out in the blue. Usually they're very well camouflaged. It's starting to get a little darker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So their coat blends in with, and they're pretty good. They, I guess, purposely try to camouflage into hidden, whether that's pavement at the corner of pavements or
they're very still. So if they're not moving, they're quite hard to spot.
Yeah, but you just kind of see their 2 little
their
rabbit
little
ears.
Oh, they're so cute with their little white fluffy tails.
Or if they are moving, then you see their big white tail Just
their
the
little
big
fluffy tails are so cute. Like you just,
Yeah.
anyways, they're so cute. But basically every night when we're walking the dog, instead of having like a beautiful evening stroll together where we talk about life,
which we used to do.
which is what we used to do
Over the
until
last
we
month.
started playing this stupid game. But now it's like escalated and we have completely lost control and we are so competitive.
Yeah. And we keep score.
And we keep score. So who spots like the bobbit first, you get a point.
And
Max is also a participant.
yes, he does spot them sometimes.
Every once in a while, he'll spot one first, and we let him have a point. So it's like the three of us are playing.
Yeah. Actually, yesterday, he tied you.
I know.
Which is
it's
pretty
freaking
embarrassing.
because usually he sucks at this game. But he spotted one before both Brandon and I yesterday.
And not yesterday, but the day before when I did win, we saw like 10 rabbits that day.
9.
Yeah. And I think that was the record.
Ultimate number of bobbits. But the problem is that now we've gotten so competitive that we can't like talk to each other. And as we're walking, we're just like scoping out all the bushes and like looking around. We probably look like kooks.
Yeah. Sometimes people will also be walking and then they'll just hear us go, bobbit!
I'm gonna pee. It's so funny.
Anyways, we just wanted to fill you guys in on what our nighttime exercise is like.
So yeah,
Our movement, our daily movement that we like to do before bed, helps with the digestive system.
We always do it after
Used to
supper.
be a nice mental relief, but now it's a mental stress.
Yeah, and like I get like sweaty and stressed as soon as we like leave the condo. So you have to get like on high alert because typically the person who spots the first bobbit ends up the winner of the day. So like that first bobbit is so stressful.
But also, if you find the first one, then you can kind of relax a little bit on the walk, and that moment when you can relax a little bit, you're up one bobbit.
Yeah.
Then you can start chatting a little bit until the other person, boom,
snipes
spots
one.
Yeah.
And then you're back to 1v1.
Yeah.
And then you got to get your head in the game.
Yeah. And,
anyways, so yesterday Brandon was winning and then
last 2 days. Yeah.
Yesterday. And who won the other 3 days in a row?
Yeah, but that's so far behind us.
I'm still up on you this week. This week so far, I am victorious. But yesterday you were winning, and then I was like just trying to talk to you about my day, and then you spotted another one, and I was like, that's it. We can't talk anymore. I need to focus on the bobbits.
It's so funny because I also said we should make this a team collaboration game where we just have to try to find a total amount.
I was like, no.
And Susie just hesitated a little bit, paused, looked at me and said, no, that's not fun at all.
I'm like, I don't want to collaborate. There has to be a winner.
Yeah.
Because even though it's not fun to lose, like it's just so much more fun to win that it's like not worth giving up the feeling of winning.
Yeah.
For the collaboration factor. So anyways.
So we have little spots now where we have Bobbit Island because usually there's a crossing where they go across.
And there's a gopher that we see a lot.
Henry.
We called him Henry. We're fully psycho. You know what's really funny? The other day, our friends Sasha and Justin were over, and Sasha and I went walking the dogs, and I was like, okay, so here's the game. And I like got her in on the game. And she was like, oh my God, you're nuts.
Yeah. Anyways, if you guys
crushed her.
do any fun stuff like that during
with your family.
Yeah, with your family during your nighttime routine, whether that's when you're going for walks, let us know. Shoot us a DM on Instagram or Facebook, and we want to hear your fun stories that you do with your family.
Yeah, and if you need the rules of the bobbit game, like we can send them to you.
One rule we didn't tell them is if you call a bobbit and there is no bobbit, it's -1.
A negative bobbit.
Yeah, so you can't fake call.
Yeah, because otherwise you could just be bobbiting willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Sometimes those birds, like they flap low and you look and you're like, just a bird. Just a
robin.
Bird. It's just a bird.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed that banter topic. You got a little insight of
our relationship.
Our nighttime routine.
You know what? I look forward to playing this with our toddler. We're going to crush him.
Yeah.
He's going to suck.
Yeah, he's going to cry every night before bed. We'll make it a team collaboration at the beginning.
We'll let him think that like it's a team collab, but like whatever.
We'll say it's a
like
team
when
collab
you
in front of him, but then when we put him to bed, then we'll be like,
I won.
I won 4-3.
It's like when you like you see siblings letting their other sibling play video games, but their controller's not plugged in.
Yeah.
That'll be yeah. It's a collaboration. It's like super fun, little one.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I did that to my brother a few times when we were playing video games growing up until he actually found out what I was doing and he was pissed.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I control my guy?
I'm the young sibling in my family, so
you were the one that they had to let win.
Yeah,
maybe that's why you're so competitive, because you're the third child. You have to fight for everything.
You know, I don't think I had to put up that much of a fight because I feel like my siblings were scared of me.
Maybe.
I always got what I wanted.
Interesting. That's for another discussion. But today we are getting in to a topic. We kind of just wanted to maybe speak to a new audience, maybe people who are just tuning into the podcast.
Welcome.
And who think we're absolutely crazy now.
Yeah, they've tuned out. They're like, okay, I thought this was a CrossFit podcast. Why are we talking about rabbits?
So we just wanted to discuss the different experiences or the things that people will go through at the beginning stages of CrossFit, and we'll kind of give it a rough timeline of their first 3 to maybe even 6 months of CrossFit.
So like what can you expect to live in terms of like physical and mental and emotional changes, but also we can kind of speak to the benefits and things that you're going to get as you progress.
Absolutely. Now, everyone's coming at this from a different different part of their life. Some people come from never exercising before.
Right.
You know, either 30s, 40s, 50s, never done any sort of like working out, training, lifting weights, and are just starting their journey. Others are coming from maybe like for the last few years, they've been going to a Globo gym. They've been doing some weight training. Maybe they've had a personal trainer and they've had some exposure to working out.
Right.
And then, maybe other people are coming at it from a sports background, kind of like myself, coming from college sports, finishing that, and then not having anything to play anymore because you get a certain age. And then you dive into this thing that called CrossFit.
Right.
So that being said, it's going to be a different starting point for each person, but the process and the things that you'll get throughout will be similar.
Yeah.
Tell them a little bit about how we start all of our people from zero CrossFit exposure. Quick recap of like what is the process like at CrossFit Max?
Yes. Okay. So what happens first is we have what we call a semi-sweat intro, which is a free session done one-on-one with one of our awesome coaches. And the session is really what the name says. It's semi-sweat intro. So part of the session, we really just want to get to know the individual, learn where is their background, where are they coming from, why did they come into the gym, all of those things. Get to know their goals, what are their hopes and dreams for CrossFit, all of those things. So we do quite a bit of chatting. We get to tell them a little bit about who we are and what they can expect out of the gym. And then after that, we give them a nice little general warm-up, and we run them through a pretty simple training session where we learn some body weight movements and we do a little Metcon and AMRAP, a little sweaty session at the end.
Little circuit stuff.
And the goal of this session is to kind of give people a taste of what they can expect and to really showcase who we are and
kind of break the ice for them.
Yeah.
Break the ice in a very gentle way.
Exactly.
And also in a way that teaches people that we will meet you where you're at.
Yeah, and it also allows us to like physically see like where are we at.
It's almost an assessment from our standpoint. It's an assessment to see
exactly
where they're at, where they where we need to push them,
where they excel, where they
excel.
struggle, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So.
And the cardio circuit at the end there really helps dictate a lot about the individual. It tells us a lot about that person, and it hopefully gives them a little bit of insight of how fit they are in a shorter period of time, without making them feel like completely wrecked or destroyed at the end of a
the goal is that
first
they
session.
walk out of here feeling really good about the session and not feeling like we crushed their soul.
Yep. It's kind of the first taste of CrossFit and the first taste of intensity, let's call it.
Yeah.
Then we put them through a foundations course, which can be done in 2 ways. We'll talk about the most common way. It's a 2-week program.
Accelerated foundations.
They do 3 one-on-one sessions.
No.
What do you mean no?
They do 5 one-on-one sessions.
In the first week, they do 3 one-on-one sessions.
Okay, you didn't say in the first week.
Sorry.
You just said they do 3.
Sorry. On the first week, they do 3 one-on-one sessions.
Yes.
And this is where they start to go over the foundational movements of CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
The more compound lifts, like a deadlift, like a barbell press and dumbbell press. We start to go over squatting with them. And we slowly start to teach them some of these more higher skill movements, while starting to incorporate some weight training and some intensity into their conditioning work.
Yeah.
Slowly.
It's like a little build. Start to build.
It's a slow build. They start to feel what CrossFit is like, and then they're also starting to learn a lot of new things. And then on the second week, they finish that foundations in another 3 sessions. The first 2 sessions are again one-on-one with a coach, where now we go into the Olympic lifts,
more complex
so the more complex movements, now that they've had a base of like learning how to properly squat, learning how to properly hinge, learning how to keep their back straight when they bend over, essentially, learning how to put something safely overhead, learning how to keep their core nice and tight while they're lifting weights. Then they start to go into some more higher skill stuff. For the last 2 sessions, they learn the snatch, and then they learn the clean and jerk, and then they start to build up the intensity even more from the first week.
Right.
And then that third session in the second week is a group class. So they do their first group training. Now they're really getting into the fun stuff of CrossFit. They get it. They get a feel for, okay, what is it like to be pulled to the board, for a coach to go over the workout of the day, to go over a general warm-up, some specific drills. They're no longer being taught movements.
Yeah.
They're now being coached through movements.
Yeah.
And of course, the learning process isn't completed in that 2 weeks. You're always still learning, but there's a difference between teaching someone, okay, like your feet need to be shoulder width apart when you squat with your toes pointed out slightly, versus now you know that, let's just get into our squat stance, hips back and down, and let's now start to build on that foundation.
Right. So just because I did like kind of interrupt you, and just so it's super clear, the Accelerated Foundations is a 2-week program with 5 one-on-one trainings and 1 group class.
Yep. Then after that, they choose their membership, and then they're in it.
Then they're one of the big dogs.
Yep. So now that they've done their foundations, they're about coming up on their 3rd-ish week of CrossFit.
Correct.
They've learned a lot. They've gone through a lot of things, and hopefully now they're getting into the thick of it. And what are some of the things that they're going to be going through at the beginning?
Yeah, so I would say one of the like maybe physical things that happens when we first start our CrossFit training, especially once we enter the group classes, because the intensity is a little bit like the volume and the intensity of the workouts is going to be bigger than what they were doing during their foundations. I think the biggest thing is you're going to feel like physically your muscles, you're using new muscles that you've maybe not used in a long time or maybe ever. And so you're going to be feeling physically sore and
there's going to be
challenged.
There's going to be moments of, am I doing too much? Is this maybe too hard for my body? Should I reduce?
Yeah, so I think one of the most common questions we get when people start their first week of group training is like, how often should I come?
Mm-hmm.
And we advise people to really try and come at least 3 times per week.
Yeah.
Because even though maybe it feels logical in your head, like, oh, I want to start off slow, if we're not coming at least 3 times a week, your body has no time to adapt.
Yeah.
And so you're going to feel sore after your training sessions for a longer period of time if you're coming really, really sporadically or like less than 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm. And there's a reason our foundations is put for 3 times in the week 1 and 3 times in week 2.
We really believe that if you want to see results and if you want to make a lifestyle change and if you want to be successful, you need to be making 3 hours in your week. If you think about it, that is really a small percentage of your week.
168 hours a week.
3 hours is not a lot. Mm-hmm. So spending those minimum 3,
especially if
super important.
This is your main source of activity. Mm-hmm. Like if you're not doing other sports, if you're not going out and running, or you're not doing any sort of activity, which is totally fine because CrossFit is my main source of activity.
100%.
3 sessions per week is the minimum amount.
Absolute bare minimum.
Yeah.
And so if you commit to those 3 times a week, which most of our clients do, because we've fostered a beautiful relationship of trust and they believe in us by this stage, then they are going to notice that the first couple of weeks, they're going to be really sore after their training sessions. But very quickly, maybe even like 2 weeks in, the amount of soreness starts to reduce quite significantly as you keep it up.
Yeah, I would say after the first month, if you've done the foundations, you've done now 2 weeks of training, you've wrapped up the first month, even max 2 months into CrossFit, and you're super consistent and you hit your 3 sessions per week, you are now going to feel significantly less sore starting at that point.
I 100% agree.
So first, like really 2-ish months, 1 to 2 months, you're probably feeling a lot more sore than maybe you ever have, especially if you're someone who has never worked out before. You're going to feel parts of your shoulders that you haven't ever felt before. Yeah. You're probably feeling like parts of your hips and your legs and your inner thighs that you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know I had muscles in there, right? Your bum, you're probably going to feel your glutes a lot. You're going to feel your calves. You're going to feel all these muscles, these major muscles in your body that are being worked in a way that maybe you've never worked them before, and you're starting to build some actual strength in them.
Exactly. So that would be the next thing, is that you're going to notice, especially at the beginning, there's such a big, quick, like exponential growth in your strength and in your conditioning and all of these beautiful things. The reasons probably why you decided to come to the gym in the first place, you're going to notice you are improving.
Yeah. A lot of people, when they start, they see, let's say, CrossFitters or people on Instagram or weightlifters or whatever. They see those barbells they're lifting or the dumbbells, and they think like, wow, I would never be able to lift that.
Yeah,
and then what happens at that point is then they start lifting a barbell. They go through the foundations. They learn the movement with an empty barbell or with a PVC, then a barbell. Then they start to add a little bit of weight. Now they're in the group classes. Now they're like, okay, like I'm doing some, back squats in the class. I'm going to add a 10 on each side. Oh, actually, that wasn't so bad. I can add a 25 on each side. Oh, shoot, I can add a little bit more. And they start to learn a little bit more about their actual strength that they can do. And then, like you said, there's going to be like an exponential growth from that period of, wow, like
especially like the first 6 months.
I went from being scared to lifting a barbell to, holy crap, I'm lifting a weight that I never thought I could lift.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, there's going to be that huge growth period. And in CrossFit, we call, something that you've never lifted before a personal record, short PR.
Yeah.
And you're essentially in that first 6 months just going to PR everything you do.
It's awesome.
One of the things they're going to learn is to start tracking their results as well.
Yep.
So a lot of people, when they maybe start a gym, they have like aesthetic goals. I want to look better. I want to lose a little bit of weight. I want to
fit in my clothes
differently. I have clothes that used to fit me. Now they don't. And I want to fit back in them. So one of the things that we track here is we track all of our training sessions. So we
Right.
track our weightlifting, we track our conditioning workouts, meaning if you have a workout that is 4 rounds of a bunch of cool things to do, and you get it done in 10 minutes and 24 seconds.
Yeah.
You have an accurate time for how long that work took you. You put it into our Wodify application, and then if ever you were to redo it, you could track back.
Be like, how have I improved since the
How
last
did I
time
improve?
I did this?
Oh, snap. Like 6 months later, I'm redoing this workout, and I'm able to do it.
8 minutes.
I'm able to do it in 8 minutes and 16 seconds. I
Mm-hmm.
nearly shaved 2 minutes off my time. That's huge. Or your strength numbers. Like, okay, like I started when I did my back squat, I was at 95 pounds for 5 repetitions. And oh my God, like now I'm at 155 pounds and I can do 8 repetitions, like
Yeah.
going heavier, and I'm doing more reps. So that's something that they're going to start to learn, and they're going to start to adapt as they go.
Yeah. So
And that's going to happen a lot for the first 6 months.
yeah, in the first 6 months, you really, really, really are going to see massive change in your physical capabilities, including your strength and conditioning. And you're probably going to start to notice that your body feels and looks different.
Yeah.
Because you're going to maybe get better sleep at night. Now that you're doing a nice exercise, you're going to probably be around a bunch of people who are drinking this protein shake after their workouts, and you're going to start to incorporate these things in your life, and you're going to notice, like, probably if you're somebody who is overweight when you first start, you're going to start to shed a few pounds.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to start to notice maybe you're getting a little bit more toned, a little less jiggle, all those types of things. So you're definitely going to notice that your physical body changes along with like your actual physical capabilities in terms of strength and conditioning.
Yep. And also you're probably going to feel a lot better into the workout. So your cardiovascular system is going to improve a lot, and you're going to remember those first couple weeks, maybe the first month of you training, where you would do that cardio circuit and you would feel out of breath after a couple minutes, versus 3 to 6 months later, you're now learning how to maybe pace yourself a little bit better,
How to approach a workout.
a workout, and you're going to finish a workout not being completely zonked dead on the floor, and you're going to be like, wow, like that was really fun. And I was able to keep running when I was doing those 200 meters around the building.
Yeah, it's such a fun
I was able
feeling.
to keep moving on those air squats when I was moving through those air squats. And, you know, like I was able to just walk around and give everyone a high five at the end of the workout.
Yeah.
So your cardiovascular system is going to improve a lot, and you're going to start to feel better as you're approaching workouts too.
Yeah. And I think you're just like kind of leading into another thing that you're going to notice is that your mental fortitude is going to be positively impacted throughout your progress. So it can be quite mentally challenging when we first start. There's nothing more intimidating than walking into the gym on day one.
Yeah.
And especially if we haven't worked out in years or we're really out of shape, it takes a lot of mental strength to get yourself to the gym.
Yeah.
And as you start to accomplish hard things and you are teaching yourself that you can do hard things by showing up regularly to the gym, minimum 3 times a week, and you're getting your strength adaptations and you're feeling better, you're going to notice that your mental toughness inside and outside the gym is going to improve for sure.
Yep.
I think this is one of my favorite parts about CrossFit.
Yeah, because there's a constant battle between your physical and your mental mind, and it'll switch actually. Sometimes your body mentally I would probably say at the beginning it's more mental than physical. At the beginning, your body is going to be uncomfortable quite a lot.
Yeah.
And your mind is going to start to say, hey, like you're feeling, this is not super comfortable. Like, can we slow down? Can we take a break right now? Should we stop? Should we not go that heavy? Should we take some weight off? Should we, just give ourselves a little bit of a few seconds here, which turns into 30 seconds. And then you have your coach yelling at you, hey, let's go.
Pick it up.
So mentally, you're going to feel a little bit more like you want to give yourself a break. But physically, you'll be able to keep going. And then that battle will start to take over. And then eventually you're going to see a little bit of a flip where your body is going to be able to just keep going. And then it might be a point where you'll have to mentally tell your body, hey, like, let's slow down a little bit. Let's pace ourselves a little bit more here. Let's be smart about our approach for this.
You're kind of hitting the nail on the head. There's that constant dialogue between your physical body and your mental state.
Yep.
And developing that relationship between your own like mindset and your physical capabilities, and pushing yourself and learning when to back off and when to hit the gas pedal is such a great skill. And I feel like developing that relationship with yourself is going to build so much confidence in your life, because you learn to trust yourself. You learn to feel good that you can do hard things, but you also learn to like trust that you're in control. You're like, I got this.
Yeah.
So I think it boosts confidence. You're going to get mentally stronger, and you're going to feel more confident in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, there's going to be like a lot of like sense of achievement,
yes,
pride. You're going to have all that stuff, all those good emotions.
You're going to be at that family dinner table showing people videos of like, look what I did at the gym today.
Exactly.
And it's just like, it's such a good feeling. And you should like be excited, celebrate all the wins.
There's also going to be a massive part of community that's involved in that growth period for the first 3 to 6 months.
Yeah,
you're going to meet so many cool people. You're going to meet a lot of people, strangers that are going to be encouraging you throughout this process. They're going to tell you, hey, you can do this. You know, when you tell yourself,
we got that on the wall now.
Yeah. When you tell yourself, I can't keep going. I can't add that weight. I can't do that. I can't even think about doing that movement. You're going to have at least one stranger next to you saying, hey, let's add those 2.5s.
You could totally do it.
You can totally do it. Hey, why don't you try this movement? Like, I've seen you work out now a couple times. Like, I think you can do it now.
Yeah.
And then there's also going to be, on Wodify, we have the daily stats where you can enter your results. You're going to have people liking your stuff, commenting on it. You're going to have just a huge sense of encouragement. You're going to have people that are going to start to know your name before you even know their name.
Yes.
You're going to have maybe people liking your social media stuff. You're going to get new followers and stuff. It's going to be
I think one of the best things about joining a CrossFit gym versus just going to work out is you get the community and the support system that comes with it. So you get a whole bunch of new friends.
Yeah. You're going to get a bunch of high fives after every workout. It's a very rewarding feeling when you have people around you who have similar goals to you, that want you to do just as well as they do.
And like they actually get it because they were right there beside you doing the workout too. So like they get it.
Yep. So community is a massive part in that process, and it's one of our most favorite things about it.
Yeah. So not only are you going to have amazing physical benefits of joining CrossFit, and you're going to see a vast improvement fairly quickly. Yeah. You're also going to have sick mental benefits. You're going to build your confidence inside and outside the gym. You're also going to make a ton of new friends and feel really supported and part of something, part of a community. Now we got to talk about how can you make sure that you're successful? Yeah,
because all that's great. But if you don't follow through on the things that are important,
if you don't do your part, then it's hard to reap all of these benefits that we're talking about.
So some practical tips for our people who are just starting on their CrossFit journey and cannot wait to get to their 3 to 6 months of going through CrossFit is number one, we say it all the time, you have to be ultra consistent.
This is literally like, if you just take one thing out of this podcast episode, this is the thing to take.
Yeah. If you sign up for those 3 sessions, you got to show up for those 3 sessions. I don't care if your friend wants to go for a coffee or your buddies want to go out for a drink one night. It's a hard commitment to stick to at the very beginning. And the hardest by far is to stick to those sessions that you've booked. But if you keep at those 3 sessions minimum, you will reap all the rewards of all the amazing things that we just spoke about before.
1,000%. And, guys, we're not talking about this major thing where you're spending days and weeks doing it. Like, it's a few hours a week. it just needs to be a non-negotiable.
Yep. I would also say, just before we move on, that your frequency, as it's going through the 3 to 6 months here, can change and can go higher. And we've said three. Three at a minimum, but realistically, the goal is to get up to 5 sessions per week.
And I would say typically before people reach that 6-month mark, they've made that change to 4 times and then to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Because you really do start to feel all the benefits, and then you don't want to miss out on some of the cool workouts that are being posted, and you want to see your buddies at the gym, and you want to be part of the community, and you want to get even stronger, and you start to have more CrossFit goals. And in order to accomplish that, you got to be in the gym.
And the more frequent you are, the faster those results will come.
1000%.
So that's important. Being consistent, maybe starting to up their frequency a little bit. The second thing that will probably kind of happen at the same time, you'll start to make like nutrition changes.
Oh yeah, I kind of sort of touched on this a second ago.
Yeah, like you'll start to want to recover a little bit better, perform a little bit better in the gym. You'll start to hear the things that we preach, that your coaches are talking about, that we're writing about, that we're podcasting about. And you'll start to be like, okay, like maybe like I should start to make some diet changes.
You know what?
It's kind of like the chicken or the egg situation. Like, do I start to exercise before I start to eat healthy, or do I eat healthy before I start to exercise?
It's so true.
But I think for most situations, I'm not saying this is the right answer in the right way, but I think for most situations, exercise typically is more important at the beginning, because if you get into the routine of exercising, you will most likely start to change your nutrition habits.
Yeah, because once you start to feel the benefits of exercise, you're like, how can I optimize these benefits? Yeah. And in order to optimize them, you need to optimize your nutrition. Yeah. I really want to talk about a conversation I had with Sarah Holt recently about this kind of topic. Well, about this whole topic, but she was saying how we were saying how, CrossFit, it is an investment. It's not a $10 BuzzFit membership. We have fairly substantial membership price, but with that investment, she was saying, she's like, I still think that having like an unlimited membership at CrossFit makes my life more affordable, because I'm less likely to want to go out to eat after work or go grab a drink after work. And I'm more likely to be like, oh, gotta leave after this meeting in order to get to CrossFit in time. Yeah, so she was saying, I literally think even though I'm paying the most expensive membership, it saves me money and it makes me healthier, because I'm making healthier choices. I want to cook my food at home instead of eating at a restaurant, because I want to optimize my nutrition in order to optimize my CrossFit gains and all of these things. And I thought that was really cool that she said that, because I was like, sometimes we just look at the price of the membership and we're like, oh my gosh, like it's a big investment. But then you look at the price of your lifestyle and you're like, actually, this is the best investment I could ever make. Yep. And actually it reduces the amount of spending I have, or spending time or room that I have on less healthy hobbies. And it's like you're still getting the social fix because you're working out with your friends. So you get to see your friends, you get to do something healthy. You make better nutrition choices. Yeah. We're saving you money.
Yeah. Other things that you're going to start to do, you're going to also start to learn a lot about your body. In fact, you're going to start to understand maybe sleeping patterns better. You're going to start to understand lifestyle stuff. Like, oh, wow, like I do go out to eat quite a lot, right? You're going to start to learn how to cook a little bit more. You're going to start to maybe go bobbit hunting at night, and you're going to start walking more. You're going to start taking more steps. You're going to maybe start standing a little bit more at your work desk.
Your new friends are going to suggest a 5K on a Sunday is a fun thing to do instead of brunch.
So you're going to start to learn a lot of things about your body. You're going to start to learn maybe even about your bowel movements and stuff like that.
Oh boy.
You're going to start to learn like, okay, like when I'm eating these types of foods, I'm a little bit more gassy. Like these foods tend to upset my stomach, and I never knew that before. Like I should maybe try to eat a little bit differently. So you're going to learn a lot of things about your body, your habits, your lifestyle. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest mind openers throughout this entire process. Where you're going to start to question maybe a little bit more of your entire life, which sounds so like deep and maybe grand to say, but I think it does have a huge impact when like we talk about health. We're talking about like a holistic approach to health. We're looking at all these different aspects of your life rather than just the physical side of things. You know, we're talking about the emotional, we're talking about like the community, your social aspect. We're talking about the psychological, we're talking about the physical as well, the existential. Like there's a lot of things that go into health, and this is kind of just the tipping point. And then it's going to start to make you in small ways at the beginning for the first maybe 3 to 6 months. You're going to start to make these adjustments, and then you're going to start to like towards that 6th month, you're going to start to realize, oh wow, like I do need to go for a little walk right now. I do need to get some sunshine.
Exactly.
I do need to pay attention on what I eat, how I'm cooking, what's going into my mouth, how I'm chewing, all those things.
You notice like I do sleep better when I go to my CrossFit class.
Yeah.
I do perform better at work when I have a balanced
focus
breakfast.
more. I'm not so foggy.
I do show up better in my relationship. I do all of these things. You're going to start to see a positive impact in all of these different parts of your life. And then everyone around you is going to be like, what's your secret? The answer is CrossFit Max.
Yeah. So that was a lot of things that might happen.
It was like an epic sales pitch, actually.
I feel like that's a lot of things that could happen. But again, none of this will happen unless, number one, you start. You got to start the journey.
Yeah, you got to take that first step.
Don't keep watching people do CrossFit. Don't keep talking about people doing CrossFit. Don't say, after my next work project, I'm going to start CrossFit. When I come back from vacation in like 3 months from now, that's when I'm going to start CrossFit. You got to start today. And you got to be consistent with it. You got to be gentle to yourself because, again, depending on where you're coming from, your fitness background, you got to go through the process at a more gentle pace at the beginning, not be too hard on yourselves. And you got to trust in your coaches. You got to trust the process, and you got to be ultra consistent, and you got to believe in the process, because if you do all those things at the end of that first 3 months, you're going to be like, holy crap, I am a new person. And at the end of the 6 months, you're going to be like, I don't even recognize the person I was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So if there are people out there who have just completed their 6 months, I would love to hear what your journey is. We've had some people reach out to us from the UK. We had someone reach out to us from Belgium. So we have some really cool listeners that are starting to listen to this podcast from around the world. We started this podcast just for our community. Yeah. But we would love to hear from you guys on some of the things that you have gone through throughout your first 3 to 6 months, let's say. And
what are the biggest changes that you've experienced? Yeah,
we would love to share this information on social media with your permission. Yeah. And if you don't want us to share, we would still just absolutely love to hear. We
just want to know, yeah.
We would just love to hear it because, you know, Susie and I are sitting in a very small black room with 2 microphones, and we don't get to see all you guys listening, but we know there's a lot of people listening. So we would love to hear your stories, and feel free to reach out to us. On that note, we have someone who we'd like to shout out as client of the week. Pew, 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 pew. And that is someone who has just started with us over the last
in her first month.
Yeah, she's on her 4th week, I believe. She did her foundations with me, her accelerated foundations, and she's now on her 2nd week. And she started, I won't say her name just yet, but she started in that semi-sweat trial with me, saying, I don't know if I can do more than 1, max 2 sessions per week because I might be a little too sore. I'm not sure if I can commit to my schedule, my work schedule. Mm-hmm. After our semi-sweat, after the 60 minutes we went through, I convinced her to sign up for the accelerated foundations.
Look at you. You're such a signed good convincer, babe.
For the 3 sessions the following week. She completed her next 3 sessions, Last week was her first week of group training. She was there for 3 sessions. And
Damn,
this
girl.
week, today, she signed up for her 3rd session of the week. So that's 4 weeks in a row now. And that amazing client, and she's a podcast listener already, is Jacinth.
JC.
So she has been an incredible athlete to work with in this short period of time.
Fun. I haven't gotten a chance to get to know her too much yet, but I already love her because she's so smiley every time I see her.
Smiley, super sweet, has trusted me, has trusted the process so far. She's been ultra consistent for these last 4 weeks now. And I'm already seeing a massive difference, not just in her physical, but her mental side of things and her approach to it over just the last 4 weeks.
Her belief in herself, belief in the process.
Yeah.
Commitment to the process.
And JC, thank you for listening to the podcast. I think I told her
Shout
on
it
like
out,
her
girlfriend.
on our semi-sweat, our first session together, that we do a podcast. And she, on our first foundation, she's like, "Yep, I already listened to the podcast." And I was like, "Oh wow, that's crazy." So
That's so fun.
thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being such an awesome client these last 4 weeks. You have been absolutely killing it. You've been a joy to coach just in this short period of time.
When I'm back from my mat leave, I can't wait to coach you.
And I am very excited for you to hit your 3-month mark and 6-month mark, because if you keep it up like this, we're definitely going to have to up you from 3 sessions to 4 sessions real soon. And you're going to have an extreme amount of progressions over the next 3 to 6 months. So keep it up.
Amazing.
We hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you want to help contribute,
Buy us a protein
you
shake.
can buy us a protein shake down below in the links.
Thank
And
you.
we would greatly appreciate it. And we hope that you guys have an awesome day. And we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.
Bye.